Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Hey, the crux of my question is essentially my husband owns a home in New Jersey that he rents out to his ex-girlfriend. And
Whoa.
Yeah.
Let that marinate for a minute. You just sped past that. Ooh, okay.
I know. So he bought it. It's entirely in his name, both the mortgage and the deed. He bought it in like 2016, 2017. And then, a few years later, they broke up. They do share a child together. So that's kind of where the rental agreement came in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So wanted to make sure that, there was limited, disruption for his child. So, yeah. So he rents out the place to his ex, and now, fast forward a few years, we are trying to get qualified for a home, and the credit report came back, and she has been late on payments. So it's affecting our qualification process.
You don't say. So, no way.
Yeah, I know.
I thought exes always did exactly what they said they were going to do.
So he's not collecting the rent and paying the mortgage. He's just assuming that she's paying it.
Correct. Yeah. So she pays. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. This is so great.
Okay. And let me say, I kind of get that. He was probably like, I don't want to have to be involved in this if I don't have to be, right? Like limit contact kind of thing. But
that's exactly it. So it wasn't a fun breakup. And so that's a part of the dynamic here, right? One, he wants to obviously be low conflict, do what's best for his child in the situation. So just keep that in mind, right? That was where his intention was. So that's kind of the situation we're in, right?
So how far behind is she?
Hey, George here with a quick interruption. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, would your family know where to find your life insurance policy, your will, even your Netflix password? Well, Knockbox solves that. It's a kit that organizes your financial accounts, estate plans, and everything your family would need all in one place. That way they don't have to hack into your laptop or locate some long-lost thumb drive. So leave them a legacy, not a scavenger hunt with Knockbox. Ramsey fans get the best discount available at knockbox.com/Ramsey. That's knockbox.com/Ramsey.
Right.
So how far behind is she?
She's actually, the payments are up to date. She has just had a history of late payments. So in this year alone, right, as of mid-May, she was late on 3 payments, and it's past the 30-day mark, right? Ooh. So it's hitting his credit report. Yeah. And then we did a more extensive credit report, and she was late about 20 times over the history of the last 5 or so years that she's been paying.
Yikes! So you're not getting a house.
Yeah, you aren't getting a house.
Not for a while.
That's surprisingly enough, right? We did our credit report, and his score isn't as bad as you might expect.
What is it?
Because he's I think it was in the low 7s.
Okay. Yeah, that's not as bad as I would expect.
Right, exactly, and that's what the lender said as well. That he was really surprised, but it goes to show you that he is on top of his finances, with the exception of this situation. So
what's your question?
My question for you is, what would be your advice in the situation to move on from it, right?
I would sell the house.
You got to sell the house and let her get her own space. It's been how many years?
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would sell
she has since been married, and her and her new husband have a child together.
Oh,
so
gosh.
It's not
yeah. This is overdue.
Yeah.
This is long overdue. And I wouldn't make a big drama about it. I wouldn't go talk about the past missed payments. And I would just say, hey, it's been 5 years. I think we've all moved on. I think we're all in a good place. And honestly, we're about to buy a house anyway, so we need to clear this out. We're gonna and give them the right amount of time. We're gonna be selling the house in 6 months, or give them a window to get out of there, and then sell it.
Or if there's an incredible. I'm making up a number here, but let's say the house is worth $500,000 and he's got $200,000 in equity. If he wanted to make them just a stupid deal on it, to let them buy it as a gift to his daughter or something like that, he could do that. But y'all got to sell the house. It sounds like if she's late 20 times over the course of 5 years, she's got other issues financially.
Right, and that's the other thing where conscious of, because, right, if she can't, like, for context too, like the mortgage payment is like $1,100 a month, right?
Yeah.
And if like you're late on that, the last thing that I think he wants to do is, and he's not responsible for their finances, so like understand that, but the last thing he wants to do is kind of like throw them out, you know what I mean? And
he's not throwing them out. You're giving them 5-6 months to get their own space, and it's fair. He owns the house.
But I personally wouldn't wait 5 or 6 months just because I don't trust what they would do to the house, or they might just stop paying on it altogether.
And they might, and if that, you can stipulate all that. Like, that can all be stipulations in how you do this. But the point is, you're giving them a fair amount of time to find something new. And if you find that they are not holding up their end of the deal, you accelerate that process, and you can let them know that ahead of time. We're telling you this out of good faith because we love this daughter and we care about making sure you land on your feet. Now, if you abuse that, then we'll accelerate this and you'll be out in a month.
Yeah, we'll evict you in 30 days.
Exactly.
Well, what's the custody arrangement with daughter?
Every other weekend.
Okay. Every other weekend, so she stays almost all the time with mom. How come?
That was an agreement when they first broke up because he was working, 2 jobs and like he, insane hours, and so that was kind of what they agreed on then. But that's kind of outdated as well.
Yeah. So here's the broader picture for me is this. He doesn't have an obligation to that mother or her new stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
That's their responsibility to figure that out. And what I'm going to say is going to sound harsh, and I don't mean for it to sound harsh, but you and him, by the way, this house is yours too.
Yeah.
It's y'all's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And y'all need to decide what kind of life y'all want to live, to have, right? And I wouldn't personally want my wife's ex-boyfriend 5 years later still messing up my financial life.
That's right.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I can't breathe right if I'm away from my daughter for more than 3 or 4 days. Call me a sucker. I don't care. I don't like it. When I'm on the road for 2 weeks at a time, I get out of sorts. And so if he is okay seeing his daughter every other weekend, more power to you. I couldn't live like that. Mm-hmm. And so it may be we're going to revisit a whole bunch of things. And if her new stepdad and her bio mom cannot afford to find a place to live, cannot afford groceries, I'm going to have a different conversation with them in the courts about my daughter's well-being and safety.
Right.
But I'm not going to burn down my financial life supporting somebody that has no interest in supporting themselves.
Yeah, because you're right. If they're struggling with $1,100 on this rent, they're struggling.
But they really,
or they're struggling, but you know why? Because they can.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know, how much of that, because it's not like, obviously, with the mortgage being only in his name and everything, she wasn't the most financially responsible person.
Because she didn't have to be. He allowed that.
You've been the safety net there this whole time. But John is exactly right. You have a stake in this, and
y'all sit down.
You sit down together and say, this is what we want. This has been going on long enough. It's been 5 years, for crying out loud. They're okay to go out on their own. And I am with you, John. I could never see
I would do a walk through that house, and I'd put on the market sooner rather than later.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.